Hello and welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I am, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lamone, and this is Spider-Man, and we are here to talk about the box office projections for this weekend, July 16th through July 18th. So this is how it's going to work, guys. We're going to talk about the previous weekend and what the top 5 movies were, how much money they made and all that, how that affects how the box office is going to go for this coming weekend, and how it's going to shape up with our 2 newcomers this week with Space Jam: A New Legacy and Escape Room: Tournament of Champions. Alright, so without further ado, let's make it do what it do. Coming at number 1 is Black Widow, of course. Domestically, it made $80 million, a pandemic-era record, which was previously held by Fine. I call it Fine, not F9, because, you know, F and 9 sounds like fine. And you want to know why I call it Fine? Fast and Furious? It's because you decided to think, oh, well, F8 sounds like fate, so we're going to call our movie The Fate of the Furious. So therefore, I'm calling this movie Fine, okay? Anyway, we'll get to you in a little bit, Fine. But Black Widow opened up to $80 million, which was previously held by Fine, which opened to $70 million. Internationally, it opened up to $78 million, but we're not going to really count that going forward. I just found that very, very impressive because internationally, we haven't had that big of an opening in a while. This was the biggest opening since Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker in 2019, which is still the last movie to make triple digits opening weekend. We are still looking for that first one. I really thought Black Widow could do it, but if it didn't have the premiere access on Disney Plus, and by the way, it made $60 million on Disney Plus alone, I think we could have really had the first triple digit million anyway. Triple digit million? That doesn't make sense. Our first 100 million plus opening weekend if they didn't do the Disney Plus premiere access, but I get it. It's just the situation we live in, but I think we are now at a point in the US anyway that we can send people to the theaters and still make quite a bit of money. I'm not a huge fan of the premiere access in general, to be honest with you. Not just because, like, you know, oh, the movie's going to be on the streaming service. No, I mean, if you're going to do that, fine, but don't have people pay an extra $30 for it if they've already paid a monthly subscription for it. Sometimes I think it's smart, sometimes I think it's dumb, but most of the time I think it's dumb. But that's another conversation for another time. But still a very impressive opening at $80 million in the US alone. Again, a pandemic era record. And surely at some point we will get to that first 100 million. What do y'all think it's going to be? Do y'all think it's going to be Suicide Squad, maybe Shang-Chi, another Marvel property, or something out there that you think, like, no, it's going to be this movie? Leave your comment below and let me know what you think. Alright, coming in at number 2, we have Fine. Making $11 million domestically. I'm not going to give the worldwide numbers. Yeah, that's a big drop from 80 to 11. It is what it is. I mean, Fast 9. Well, there I go. I called it Fast 9. I guess I figured I'll be over the Fine joke by this point. Made $70 million its opening weekend, and then it just had a 70% drop week 2, and now here we are at $11 million. Just shows that everyone wanted to go see Black Widow. Everyone was ready to see that Marvel movie that we just missed. We've been seeing it on the small screen, but Marvel's home is on the big screen, and it just shows. But Fast 9 has already made enough money, enough as it is. It's going to do just fine. They're going to start filming Fast 10 in January of 2022. They're still going. I'm usually a fan of that franchise, but even I'm like, alright, it's time to wrap this up. Thankfully, these are the last 2s, and they're filming the last 2 back to back. So all we got left is fasten your seatbelts, because F10, and Fast 11, and like another YouTuber said, so that we can have the road stripes as the 11. Anyway, moving on to number 3, Boss Baby, Family Business. I'm surprised that this movie is let alone in the top 5 at all, because, like, I wasn't a huge fan of the first Boss Baby, but I don't usually take my own experiences with it, but, like, it just never really was a buzz, you know? I know it got nominated for an Oscar, and we were all like, what? How does Boss Baby get nominated for an Oscar? It really wasn't that good of a movie, but hey, it did good enough money-wise to get a sequel. I just figured in a pandemic era, it wouldn't make the top 5. It made $9 million, which is a pretty good additional because this is the second week going. But the main reason why I am surprised that it's in the top 5 to begin with is that this movie is free. If you have Peacock, you You got Peacock. You have access to the movie, and you don't have to pay extra or anything. It's exclusively on Peacock, and you don't have to go to the theaters for it. I guess Peacock hasn't really promoted it that well for a lot of people, but hey, this also goes to what my theory is that people enjoy going to the movies, and regardless if they can see a movie for free in a streaming service, there's nothing like grabbing you and your family together and just going to the movies and just sitting in a dark room with some strangers and some other parents who you're like, hey, we get it. You got kids, I got kids. It's going to be a noisy. We don't really care for this movie anyway. We just want to get out of the house because after being locked in it for over a year. But Boss Baby? That's just my personal opinion. Y'all do what y'all do. I'm just surprised that I'm just happy. Not surprised. I'm just happy theaters are making money again. All right, we're moving on to the fourth place spot, which is The Forever Purge, making $7 million at the box office domestically on its second week. Pretty reasonable. I feel like The Purge has had its course. In all honesty, I'm usually a huge fan of the Purge movies. I usually really look forward to them, but just the marketing and all that, I wasn't too amped for. But I still go see it, and I gotta say, I had a lot of fun with this one. I kind of wish this one was a little higher. I would actually give this one the 3 spot if it was my own preference way to what are the top 5 movies of the weekend, of the past weekend currently. I called The Forever Purge the worst and best Purge movie I have ever seen, just with how it is, and I honestly loved every second of it. But $7 million is what it brought in this past weekend, and it doesn't look like it's going to make it to the top 5 this weekend. And rounding up the top 5 is A Quiet Place Part 2, making $3 million, and it does look like that is going to be the last millions it makes, because this is the end of its 45-day window at the theaters. After this, it is starting to be open on streaming. I think you can actually start getting the streaming for it this weekend on Friday. I'm not sure which products it is. I don't think it's on Paramount Plus yet. It could be on Paramount Plus this weekend. But I do know it's on Vudu, I think you can get it on that streaming service. I'm not sure about Paramount Plus because that is the deal that Paramount Plus is doing with the movies. They're only doing a 45-day window for all Paramount movies and then taking it to Paramount Plus for a streaming, which I get, but this movie was making money. It was in the top 5 for over a month, I think almost close to 2 months, and now you're pulling it when you can still get quite a bit of money in it. It is still playing in theaters, but I feel like A Quiet Place has run its course now, and I don't see it really making the top 5 next week either. So, some bullet points to make about the weekend so far, some storylines to keep followed. Black Widow keeps course of all the MCU movies, keeping the streak alive at 24-0 at being number 1 on its opening weekend. Every MCU movie has been number 1 at the box office on its opening weekend. That is from Iron Man 1 all the way back in 2008, and now in 2021, the streak stays alive at 24-0. And it doesn't look like it's a streak that's going to end anytime soon because I see a lot of good buzz for Shang-Chi, Eternals. I'm so excited for Eternals, and of course Spider-Man No Way Home with how much buzz it gets. And that's just not coming from a fan, that's just in general about how freaking amped people are for this movie. I see a lot of speculations and where's the dang trailer? I think we're going to get one. Maybe next Monday. Well, this coming Monday, I should say, on the 19th. That is my guess for when the trailer's coming, but I'm just a guy with a YouTube channel who likes to read numbers. Alright, A Quiet Place has the streaming, we already talked about that, and its total box office earning that it has is $151 million. It's a pretty good run. I think that is enough to break even. I can't remember how much the movie cost off the top of my head, but you also got to take into consideration of marketing, how much marketing costs, and then paying the movie theaters themselves and what was the difference there and all that. But I do think 151 was good. Besides the aliens, I don't think it's a really expensive movie to make. Well, I guess Emily Blunt's paycheck. But anyway, finishes off its theatrical run, its main theatrical one, with $151 million. Alright, next up, Space Jam is currently sitting at a 56% Rotten Tomatoes, guys. And usually when that comes out, like, oh well, the movie's not that good. I really weren't worried too much about that too much because the original Space Jam, Michael Jordan, had a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes. So if anything, it's saying this movie's better, but it is for the kids. I'm also a little worried about it because this is a Warner Brothers project, obviously, and this is one that is both coming to theaters and HBO Max. And what the studies show is that people want to go to the theaters, but they typically want to see an action movie like a Black Widow, a Fast 9, or a horror movie like The Forever Purge, A Quiet Place Part 2, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, so on and so forth. Those are the two main things. And I think a family movie like this, I feel like a lot of people will be like, do we really need to go to the theater for that? I think we should just watch it on HBO Max. But I do think a lot of people with families are going to be like, now let's get out of the house, let's go see a movie, and let's watch LeBron James. I mean, if any indication is the Tom and Jerry movie that was also an HBO Max and Warner Brothers exclusive release. And Tom and Jerry had a surprising opening of $14 million, which is very, very, very impressive because it wasn't really projected to make that much, and it actually overperformed for a Tom and Jerry movie. And also, I believe the Looney Tunes as a whole are more popular than Tom and Jerry, and LeBron James is, I think, more famous than the whole cast of Tom and Jerry, and I don't think, I know LeBron is more popular. So Space Jam has everything going for it, and I do think it's going to do well, but I just think it could have done better without the HBO Max, because I do see a lot of families going, we can save the money, let's watch it on HBO Max, or some couples with the boyfriend who has nostalgia for Space Jam, or women who also like basketball quite a bit, who have the nostalgia for Space Jam, will be like, let's just watch it at home and let's get some ice cream, man. Let's just pig out. Order some wings and a pizza. But hey, we will see this weekend when Space Jam: A New Legacy opens in theaters and on HBO Max. I'm kind of serious to see how many people watch on HBO Max compared to how many people go to see it to the theaters. Maybe I'll add that to the next video. And the last thing is the next movie that's coming out is Escape Room, a Tournament of Champions. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I was not looking forward to the first Escape Room, but I've got to say I was very, very surprised by the movie and how entertaining and actually how pretty damn good it was. But I didn't think it warranted a sequel, even though it set up a sequel. I was like, it was good enough for a one and done type of thing. But hey, Hollywood's in the business of sequels, so they made a sequel, and the trailer was not good. I was not a fan of the Escape Room trailer, but hey, like I just said earlier, people want to go to the theaters and they mainly want to see a horror movie or an action movie, and I do think it's going to get some butts in the seats. I do have it coming in pretty high in the top 5, but it is sitting like at 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is just not good. And that means the movie's bad, but hey, horror usually gets a pretty bad rap in the first place. Maybe it's 40% due to it not being that scary, and I'm just thinking that because, with the set pieces of Escape Room, is considering the first one as well, is the set pieces and the spectacle of the rooms more than it is the horror. So I'm going to see that 40%, I'm going to put it to the side, I'm going to experience for myself, even though I am not that excited for it, and I'm not a huge fan of the trailers. So, those are the stories of the weekends that we need to keep in mind going into this weekend. The Tom and Jerry having a surprising opening, which could, I think, helps Space Jam's case of having a good opening weekend. Black Widow had a huge opening, so we can expect a slight drop. Fast 9's run is over, and Quiet Place is going to start going to streaming. So this is how I see the top 5 shaping up. At number 1, I do have Black Widow coming in. It is projected to make like 35.5, which is close to about a 55% drop, I believe, if I'm doing the math correctly in my head. But I have it actually having a dead even 50%. I have Black Widow coming in at $40 million, a drop from 80 to 40 domestically. It is the age that we live in now that people just want to see movies on the opening weekend. Usually, if you don't see it on the opening weekend, you usually don't have that much interest to see it. But I do think a second wave is going to come. It did have a good enough word of mouth. I was not one of the positive ones. I don't think Black Widow is a bad movie per se. I just think it's good, and I just don't think it's going to be memorable. And T-minus like 2 months, I think people are just going to be like, oh yeah, Black Widow, that did a movie that did come out, didn't it? It's just one of those, and the villain is very, very weak to me. But A lot of people liked it. A lot of people enjoyed it. I do see it having a good performance on its second weekend, but a 50% drop nonetheless. I got Black Widow at 40 million domestically. At number 2, I got Space Jam: A New Legacy. Now, it is projected to make 24 million at the box office. I have it making a little bit less at 22 million at the box office. I just think there's going to be more surgeons to watch this one at HBO Max. I know Tom and Jerry had a surprising opening, and I have it making more because Tom and Jerry had 17 million. I've got Space Jam Legacy at 22 million, but I think with the more IP and all that, I think there's going to be a urge to watch it on streaming and on theaters, and I think it's going to cut really close. I hope I'm wrong. I think it has the potential to get 30 million, which is more than the 24 million that is projected for, but something's just saying 22. 22. Maybe it's T Swizzle, Taylor Swift. The song. Anyway, at number 3, I have Escape Room: The City of Champions. I have it making 10 million. It is projected for 13. I have this movie bombing at 10 million. I don't see a lot of people going to see it. I'd see enough people for it to get to the number 3 spot, but that's quite enough right there. Again, the trailers just haven't been good to me, and I just don't see a big, like, oh yeah, Escape Room, I can't wait to see that. And yeah, so Escape Room, City of Champions at number 3 at 10 million. At number 4, I have Fine, Fast 9, and I got that one making 7 million. It is projected for 6. I do have it making more. Again, maybe that 13 million goes to Fast 9 at the 7. To get to the 7 million mark. The run is basically over because now we're getting more new movies, and then after this one there's Old, which is going to be a huge hit the following weekend, and Snake Eyes. Fast 9 is basically done at this point, but it's still a very good run nonetheless, and we'll have the full totals for F9 next week. And rounding up the top 5, I do have Boss Baby, A Family Business, at 5 million. It's also projected for 5 million. I do think that is the way that it will go. Yeah, I'm really surprised by this movie. I'm kind of like proud of it. I haven't seen it yet. I might actually watch it on Peacock this weekend because my bank account's already going to be kind of taken care of with Space Jam: New Legacy. I will be going to the theater to see Space Jam. I think some of the visuals will just be cool to see on the big screen. And also, I just want to support the theaters anywhere I can. And Escape Room, those are the 2 main things I will be seeing in the theaters. But Boss Baby, I could probably put on Peacock to show up. So yeah, that is my top 5 I got. We're going to have the total showing up right here on the green screen here. What do y'all think is going to be the top 5? Let me know what y'all think below. And what do y'all think the numbers will be as well for it? Comment below. Let me know. If you like this video, please give it a like. Give me that thumbs up. It helps with the spreading of the channel. Again, comment, let me know your projections, and make sure you hit that subscribe button, and that will just make me really happy. And if you want to make me happy, just subscribe. That's all I'm asking. And like and comment. I'm very needy. That is it for me, guys, and I will see you out here next time at Lemon Studio.